More best bits. Jason Jackson decapitated Jeff Carrington. Rebellis de Spain committed GBH on Junior Dos Santos. Francis Ngannou murdered Felipe Lins. And Ronda Rousey took us all back in time. I've got some more best bits for you. I wouldn't not do this event. Why not? I watched the whole thing alongside the UFC. That's why these are probably going to be too short of best bits as separate things, but they'll be two shorter ones. It doesn't matter. Anyway, MVP. Netflix did a UFC thing, okay? Jake Paul is partnered up with Netflix, and there's some other guy involved, I do believe, and they decided to put on their MMA event. They managed to get Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. The UFC wouldn't match the price that they were paying. So they managed to put together a little MMA event. I spoke highly of it. I thought, you know what, this is a good idea. This has potential. I got a bit ahead of myself. I said that this could be a UFC killer. I didn't say, like, this event itself would be a UFC killer. I meant that if someone really wants to come and compete with the UFC, this is the best time to come and do it. Okay, you could kill the UFC if you really want to compete with them right now. You could do it because they're scared to spend money for some reason. They just don't want to. And this is kind of proof of that. Because I had said that in the prediction for this, every one of these people on the undercards, some of them are UFC dropouts, don't get me wrong. Like, Brendan Jenkins. Where is he? Right here. He's a UFC washout. A UFC washout. Didn't make it in the UFCA. Didn't make it in the UFCA. But, aside from him, this undercard is mostly non-UFC people, right? And this is all good. We like this. This is all good. Muhammad Mokaev was supposed to be on the card. The guy who was undefeated in the UFC and got cut for being a dickhead. Like, this card was built specifically to build an undercard of upcoming talent off of the backs of a bunch of older recognizable names. It was interesting to see. And we had some good scraps. The prelim was good, and they put the prelim for free on YouTube, so you didn't even need a Netflix subscription. That was completely free on YouTube. Interesting way to go about it, to be honest with you. Very interesting way to go about it. But yeah, I mean, I suppose we'll talk about the card then. Actually, no, we need to talk about this, right? I said that it was going to be a UFC killer. I meant in the future, if they're going to commit to it and compete, they're going to have to do this again. You have to do 6 months' time, they're going to have to do another one of these. And then in 6 months from that, they're going to have to do another one. Okay? And then they're going to have to be like, right, okay, what's the percentages? What's the money looking like here? Because the stadium was empty. Okay? So if you want my opinion, I hate the Apex. I fucking hate the UFC Apex. But Netflix should build their own Apex. Netflix should build their own arena where they put on like fights like in the Apex with like a very small crowd, charge a shitload of money for the seats that are there, because it's only fucking rich people and then like friends and family are going to come. So friends and family, they'll have their own section in this Netflix Apex that we're theorizing about. Okay, they'll have their own, friends and family will have their own section. And then we'll have the rich people seats where it's just all the fucking Saudis and millionaires and shit who can afford to go to these kind of things. We'll just have a section for them as well. And it'll just be on Netflix. It'll just be streamed on Netflix and on YouTube if you want to do it like that. But obviously that's a lot of investment. But that would work better for this because they didn't sell hardly any of that arena. That arena was fucking empty. They had lights set up in the stands of the arena to make it look like lights were like people were taking pictures and shit. And then I realized, oh my god, no, it's just a fucking arena. They've put the lights there to disguise the fact the place is fucking empty. If the place was fucking empty. So I don't think they're going to sell tickets to... I don't think they're going to sell tickets to live events like all that much. Based on that, that's a good example that maybe they're not going to sell live seats as well as the UFC or a smaller promotion. I don't know how much they were charging for seats, but I don't think they're going to sell live seats. I don't think they're going to get people coming to a stadium to see MVP MMA just yet. But Netflix has got the money to build a warehouse somewhere. To build you know what I mean? To go to a casino and fucking buy it out for you know what I mean? And a small venue because we just want to stream it to as many people as possible. That's the idea, you know. That's my opinion on it. I think there's a lot of mistakes being made. The pacing was fucking awful. We were waiting. I'm sure we waited 40 minutes between one of the fights, and the majority of that was just Tyron Woodley talking shit, and I just don't care. I just don't care. No one cares about these people on the fucking sides. I feel like they got a bunch of like fight adjacent and MMA adjacent, and then like MMA faces to do the commentary, and like they were showing people in the crowd a bunch, like, you know, like the look who turned up, woo, look who's here, you know, and they had a lot of UFC guys there as well, and former UFC guys there too, and it was you know, fucking John Jones was there. You know, it was a big event. It was a big event. It really was. It really was. And then we had, you know, Ngannou. I mean, we'll get to that. Actually, we'll save that for when we're talking about Ngannou. But yeah, it was an interesting one. But yeah, first fight of the night: Brandon Jenkins versus Chris Alvia. Brandon Jenkins won. We picked Brandon Jenkins. UFC washout. Good enough to get to the UFC. Probably going to beat Chris Alvia. Yeah. I mean, that was fairly. It was an easy card to predict as well. That was what was good about it. It was an easy card to predict. Okay, Aline Pereira, Aline Pereira, sister of Alex Pereira, fought Jade Mason Wong. To be honest with you, I thought Mason Wong probably took that fight. Close split decision. I actually do think Mason Wong won that fight. But you know, Mason Wong. Sometimes you can't win. But yeah, I actually thought Mason Wong won that fight. It was close though. It was close. It could have gone to Pereira. She's the bigger name, so it went to her, I feel. But no, I thought Mason Wong won that fight, but I've not watched it back at all. I don't think I ever will either. So yeah, it was pretty fucking boring, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, another easy one to pick. Obviously, we absolutely crushed this card. David Magoyan versus Albert Morales. We went with David Magoyan. David Magoyan absolutely dominated. Just threw Morales around like a rag doll. Abused him, beat him up. Nasty ground and pound throughout. Let him stand up just to slam him back down again. Oh, it was very good. It was very fun fight. And then it kind of slowed down towards the end and it got a little bit boring. But, you know, that's MMA for you. You know, he fought at a high pace. It slowed down a little bit. He didn't want to be picking the guy up and slamming him around anymore in the last round. That's fair enough. But he still pushed through and he still landed some ground and pound. And there was a couple of moments where he was close to finishing Morales, but Morales managed to scramble through. And try and change position and reset a little bit. So yeah, David Magoyan, actually some good talent. So all these people really good to start off with. Actually good to start off with. But yeah, next up was Jason Jackson with a beautiful knockout of Jeff Carrington. Just walked over there and absolutely bonked him. Nice and easy. Jeff Carrington tried to pressure and try and keep Jason Jackson away from him with the pressure. Tried to just push the pressure and keep Jason Jackson away. But no, it wasn't going to work like that. Jason Jackson just stepped back, boom, counter, big left hook, boom, puts Jeff Carrington to sleep. Absolutely like a sniper shot him, bro. Just absolutely chinned him. His jaw went flying off his head. Adriano Moraes versus Fumi Nkuta. I was messing his name up when I was live last night. But yeah, Fumi Nkuta versus Moraes. This was a scrap. I'm not even gonna bullshit you. This was a scrap. This was a really good fight. Fight starts off. Moraes is winning, in my opinion, in the first round. He's not doesn't win the round. Let me get to this. Let me get this. It starts off. Moraes is winning the round. I think he even stung Nkuta really early in the first, where Nkuta managed to keep his head on, stay focused, and he stung him back. Okay, he stung him back, and he had him hurt. It was interesting, man. It was interesting. Stung him back, had him hurt, and he was pushing the pressure. Moraes was wilting on it. He was like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know how to deal with this pressure. He just couldn't get going, and Nkuta was just one step ahead. Everything Moraes did in the stand up, and Nkuta was just ahead. So then Moraes started trying to grapple a little bit and mix it up a little bit, and then he was getting bullied there. And Nkuta was just dominating every aspect of the fight, and I think he takes round one, he steals round one, he dominates round two, And I think he was well on his way to winning round 3 because he was putting a beating on Moraes. It wasn't looking good. It really wasn't looking good for Moraes. He was losing the exchanges. The commentary was biased in his favour. To be fair, they were singing his praises as Nkuza was beating him up. Like he was just being. And Nkuza was the smaller fighter, and he was just diving into that deep water, diving right into the close range, right past any of the threats, piecing up Moraes, landing like 2 3-piece combinations or just one big hefty shot before following up with like, with like a little get away from me. It was great. It was great. But Moraes just last maybe 10 seconds, Moraes throws like a jumping knee, and Kuta kind of slips it and gets out the way of it, but they collide mid-air. And then Moraes just uses that moment of being super close to just climb on the back of Nkuta and latch up the rear naked choke. And Nkuta decides, right, well, there's only like 10 seconds left, so I'm just going to fucking wait and see what happens. And the buzzer sounds and Nkuta's unconscious. Everyone thought he'd survived. His eyes were open. Everyone thought he'd survived. And then they kind of got Moraes to let go. And then Nkuta just rolled limp and unconscious to the side. And they ruled it in a rear naked choke. Moraes in the post-fight was like, no, I don't want a rematch. That's okay. That's okay. Moraes got battered and he clutched it right at the very end. He did. He clutched it. It was a Hail Mary and he absolutely clutched it. But yeah, that was close for Moraes. That was very close for Moraes. But he managed to get it done, man. He managed to get it done against a way faster, way more technical, way more well-rounded opponent of Nkuta. So yeah, very good fight. This was an absolute banger of a fight. 100% worth watching. Absolute banger of a fight. Namo Fazil versus Jack Babin. Babin got absolutely battered. Like, Babin just got battered. It should have been a stoppage, a TKO stoppage, but instead we got the Anaconda. That's all we can really say about it. It was a beatdown. It was actually a beatdown. And then we move on to the main card. Main card time. Rubelas de Spain absolutely chins Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos was getting all this hype going in there. He didn't really mention too much about Rubelas de Spain, but they were hyping up Junior Dos Santos quite a bit. Talking about all kinds of nonsense. Has the most knockdowns in UFC. Was one of the things I heard. But yeah, Junior Dos Santos had his time. I had someone in the live chat being like, who do you think's going to win, Despain or Dos Santos? I said Despain. They were like, oh, come on. Why do you think that? I was like, well, Dos Santos is pretty old and he's got a lot of accumulative damage. And he was like, he's not that old. He's only in his 40s. I was like, that's pretty old. That's pretty old. That's not like ancient, but it's old for a fighter. It's a fucking combat sport. You've got to be sharp. You've got to, and he's been knocked out a fair bit. He's accumulated damage throughout his career, and this guy was having none of it. And then what happened. Rubelas de Spain absolutely put a. It was a bit cruel. It was a little bit cruel because Junior Dos Santos went in there thinking maybe I'll be able to get something done. Maybe I'll be able to clinch you up or something if it gets rough, and he just had not. And the physicality of Rubelas de Spain was just too much. He just threw him off every time he tried to clinch up. Get off me! Fucking get off me! Bang! Oh, it was brutal. I've just absolutely bugged my camera out. But yeah, just brutal. Just a brutal beatdown. And then Rubelas de Spain just fucking bam bam. And just 3-piece combo. Just absolutely chins Dos Santos. And Dos Santos' mouth was just piss and blood after it. And it was so quick. It was so quick. But yeah, he was out. He couldn't believe it. He was like looking around like he'd seen the face of Jesus. But yeah, very good fight. Very entertaining. It's very sad, to be fair. Very sad, but it was entertainment value. I was hooting and hollering until I had a moment to be like, poor Junior Dos Santos. But yeah, next up was Pernas, Saladin Pernas versus Kenny Cross. We went with Pernas. We said in our predictions that Europe's got a better. I'm sorry, America, but Europe's got like a better talent pool. America's talent pool is too saturated with shitty wrestlers who get by on that too much. It's like blue belts. It's like blue belts and leg locks. Just that. Anyway. You know what? Well, hold on. I need to give Pernas his flowers. Very good. It was very good. Very quick, very good. Kenny Cross just didn't have a chance, to be honest with you. It was quick. It was painful for Kenny Cross. It was painful, but it had to happen. It had to happen. The body shots as well, man. Just broke down the body. Just broke down the body. Next up was Francis Ngannou murdering Felipe Lins. Felipe Lins tried to survive for a round. Francis Ngannou was just too big and scary. Francis Ngannou threw a hefty body kick at one point, and I was like, "Oh my god, that looked like it hurt." Like I've never seen Ngannou throw a kick like that before, but he threw that kick. He threw that kick hard, and Lins was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" But yeah, it was interesting to see. Very interesting to see. But yeah, Ngannou put a beating on Lins. Just walked them down, man. Just Lins was terrified. Lins was shitting his fucking pants when Ngannou was coming for him. He was terrified. He was scared for his life. I swear. And he tried. He did. God love him. He tried. He tried to put hands on Ngannou. He landed a few good shots, but you could tell the power difference was just there, and Lins was terrified of it. Lins knew one shot and I'm fucking done. He couldn't. He shot for a few takedowns. He couldn't get them. He got manhandled in the clinch. He had no chance, and I knew it. He knew it as soon as he felt the physicality. He was like, "Oh man, I'm done for here. This dude's just too big and scary." But yeah, Ngannou bonked him with an overhand, put him to sleep. Very good to see. Very good to see. Co-main event: Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry. Mike Perry gets the win, gets the TKO at the end of round 2 because Nate Diaz gets told. Oh, Nate Diaz wanted to continue, but the doctor stopped it. Doctor stoppage. Stitched around. Decided that Nate Diaz was not going out with like 4 cuts on him. But you know, it's Nate Diaz and he bleeds a lot, so I don't know how I feel about that. But to be fair, he was more blood than man, and he was 100% losing. Mike Perry's game plan was to cut Nate Diaz open. In my live chat, the chat was very much agreeing that Mike Perry just decided let's go out there and cut Nate Diaz open and get this fight stopped. So yeah, Mike Perry was coming in with like elbows and knees, just constant. All he did was just hit elbows and knees. That was it. The plan was to cut Nate badly over and over again until the fight was stopped, and that's a banging game plan, to be fair. That's a really good game plan. I mean, he put a beat down on him, man. He put a beat down on Nate. How shit is Leon Edwards? All these guys that had tough fights with Nate Diaz, and Mike Perry comes in and does that. Get Mike Perry back in the UFC. Get Mike Perry a UFC contract right now. That's what we need, but we can't afford it. UFC won't pay for it no more. TKO said, no. We can't spend the money on talent. No. But yeah, excellent work from Mike Perry, man. Absolutely put a beat down on Nate. Nate wanted nothing to do with it. Nate genuinely wanted absolutely nothing to do with Mike Perry. He looked scared of him, and that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot, man. And Mike was just ferocious, coming forward, big elbows, big knees, big punches too, and Nate just had no answer for the ferocity. Yeah, it was show them no respect. Show them no respect. I think that was the key. Mike Perry just was like, I'm just gonna fucking eat you up, and that's what he did. Absolutely just mauled Nate. And to be honest with you, there was a moment in the second round where I thought, oh my god, Mike Perry might be about to be the first man to like finish Nate. Might be the first guy to finish Nate. Nearly happened. So nearly happened. So much blood. But Nate persevered, and then it was the corner that stopped, and Nate was ready to go out there. And then I seen in the post-fight stitch around was like, look, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, it wasn't he probably wasn't for the best, but you know, Nate was trying, man. He was throwing up that jits. He just didn't have the power to keep Perry off him, and that was the problem. He just lacked the power. It's that fucking vegan diet, man. It's because he's a fucking vegan. Got no power, no muscle. Looked like, you know what he looked like? His physique. Remember Monster House, the old man in Monster House? That's what he looked like. That's what his physique was like. He looked like the old man in Monster House when he was fucking digging out in the yard. He was like, he's just not an arm. He's just skin and bone. That's what Nate was like. That's what a vegan diet gets you, guys. That's what a vegan diet gets you. Anyway, main event time. We got Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. The fight lasted seconds, literally seconds. I mean, there's not much to say about it. It was a vintage Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey put us in a time machine, took us back in time before Holly Holm, way before Holly Holm, way before, even further before Amanda Nunes. But yeah, she took us back in time. Yeah, and she showed why that, you know, although Gina Carano was kind of an underground star, she kind of showed why she was the one to catapult it into the mainstream women's MMA and get UFC to make a women's division and open that up when buying Strikeforce and whatnot. So yeah, we seen that on full display. Very, very fast on the takedown. Very, very quick on the submission on the armbar. We said round one armbar. Round one armbar submission. Of course, it was going to be it's Ronda Rousey. Had people in the chat like complaining about the ages of the women. I mean, that's fair enough. Someone came in and said, "Gosh, I'm going with Gina Carano. Ronda Rousey's old AF." And I was like, "Brother, Gina Carano's older than Ronda Rousey." But yeah, interesting one. Gina Carano looked weird. Gina Carano looked like, I don't know how to describe it. She didn't look like healthy, you know? She didn't look like a healthy weight, if that makes sense. It was very weird to see. Obviously, she was on weight, but she didn't look like... She looked a bit like lacking in muscle, you know? She looked a bit lacking in muscle compared to Ronda. Ronda was just a unit out there compared to Gina Carano. So it's strange to see. I don't know, maybe Gina was cheating. Maybe she was on the Ozempic to get down to size. Who could say? But, you know, she got a fat bag for 17-second armbar. You know what I mean? Like, Gina got paid a shitload of money, so did Ronda for a 17-second fight. So, you know, if we're keeping Ronda in MVP MMA and we're going to do this again in like 6 months' time, we need to find somebody who probably won't beat Ronda, but will survive more than 17 seconds against her. But then again, maybe they want to put her against... No! We give her more easy fights. We give her like 2 more easy fights so we get those quick armbar finishes. And we're like, look, she's not missed step. And then we feed her to a prospect. And then she gets mauled. Brilliant idea. Brilliant idea from me. But yeah, I think that sums up fucking MVP MMA 1 on Netflix. It was alright, you know what? I've got to be honest with you, entertainment value wise, I know it was competing with an Apex slop fight night. Some fucking Apex slop was what it was competing with. But, Apex. But yeah, I know it was competing with Apex slop. Entertainment value wise, way better. Prelim, way better. Main card, way better. I'm going to be honest with you. Entertainment value wise, way better. We got more finishes on the MVP card than we did on the UFC card. And I know the UFC talent pool is up there, you know, and a lot of these guys, you know, a lot of these guys on the prelims should be in the UFC, but instead they're over here because the UFC won't pay for them. Like fucking, where is he? Panas. Panas is number one. Is like fucking top guy in Europe. One of the best. And the UFC won't touch him. The UFC doesn't want to snatch him up. UFC can't afford to pay for him. He ends up over here. You know what I mean? These are all guys that UFC should... Jason Jackson probably should be in the UFC. Probably should be in the UFC right now. You know? David Magoyan probably should have had a shot in the UFC by now. Based on that dominance, you know? These are guys that we need to be snatching up. And maybe they won't win straight away, but we need to keep them around for like 4 or 5 fights to see how they develop. You know? And then we can cut them loose. And then we can say, go fight for this and that. But we need, you know, the UFC needs to spend some money. It needs to take a chance. We'll see. Because this could compete in the future. This could compete. But they need to readjust some things. The pacing was awful. Pacing was absolutely terrible. I don't want to listen to a bunch of fucking has-beens. I don't want to listen to a bunch of has-beens. I really don't. I don't want that. You know what? Fucking... If someone watching this, if any of the 3 people watching this knows Jake Paul or someone at fucking Netflix, send them my way. I'll tell you how to do it. I'll tell you how to put it there. We don't need. Listen, the fight needs to happen. We need to have a post-fight interview. We can interview both if you want. Both fighters. We can do it on the prelim too. Okay, it gives the fighters a chance to promote themselves. You know, we'll give them a chance to speak. Each fighter, winner or loser, if they want to. You know, The winner will always want it. The loser might not. The loser might want to just dip the fuck out of there. But we'll give them both an opportunity to speak. Okay? Even on the prelim. We move all the way through the card quickly. Okay? If there's a quick finish, we're not going to wait until the actual allotted time to start the next fight. You go into the back and you say, you're up, kiddo. You're up. Get the fuck out there. Okay? We're ahead of schedule. Maybe we'll finish a fucking 2 hours early. We'll finish it 2 hours early. Who cares? Like, that's that's the attitude they need. We just need to steam through these fucking fights. But yeah, you want me to take control? I'll tell you how to pace this event. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But yeah, that does conclude MVP MMA 1. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy, leave me a like, subscribe for more. I don't know. But until next time, keep your chin down and keep swinging. Peace and love. I'll see you around.